Hey friend, it's Simply T again, and I don't know where you live, but it is cold over here. But I think I found the perfect spicy and hearty soup to warm me right up. Now, I'm going to be preparing my take on a popular West African dish, but today I'm making it Liberian style. So if you want to see how I prepare this, or if you just want to learn a little bit about a different culture's recipe, make sure you keep watching. Palm butter soup or palm nut soup is a thick and spicy soup, and it is made with the pulp of a nut or fruit grown on palm plants throughout West Africa. It's often combined with meats like chicken, fish, seafood, and other really smoky and spicy flavored ingredients. And of course, you can always serve this with fufu of different varieties, other pounded starches, and of course, rice. For today's soup, I'm going to be starting off with 3 cans of palm butter, a few handfuls of Liberian dry bony fish or dried herring, a piece of smoked pike fish, beef or cow tripe, a few pieces of stockfish, as well as some Dungeness crab claws, country chicken or hard chicken, fresh pompano fish, some cow foot, which I'm already cooking down in my pressure cooker. And I love my goat meat, so you know I could not leave that out of today's soup. Like most Liberian dishes, palm butter soup requires a lot of prep work and patience. So I'm starting off with cleaning up most of my meats. Here I'm just cleaning my chicken with a little bit of vinegar, salt, and warm water just to get that fresh icky scent and taste out of there. I ran out of white vinegar, so I just used a few drops of apple cider vinegar instead. I'm going to let the chicken sit just for a few minutes before I pour that water mixture out. I rinse it off and I start adding my seasoning. So I'm going to pat this dry and just add a few sprinkles of seasoned salt and Vegeta. As you can see, I've already transferred my hard chicken to the pot. I'm ready to build up my soup base, so let's get started. I'm going to start by adding a couple of tablespoons of a blend of onions, garlic, green bell peppers, and habanero peppers on top of my chicken in the pot. Midsummer to early fall is usually pepper season at the farm, so somebody was nice enough to send some over to us of a fresh batch of scotch bonnets and habaneros, and we blended all of that down and made a sauce. It's extremely hot, so I'm only starting with about half a tablespoon for now. Next, I'm going to add the pieces of my freshly washed goat meat to the pot. And next, I'm going to add my Liberian bony fish to the top of that. Now, this is tasty, and you're going to find it in a lot of Liberian dishes because it provides a smoky, savory taste to a lot of the food. I'm going to add water to everything after I'm done mixing it up. As you can see here, I'm adding hot water because my stove is slow. So I'm just trying to get a head start on cooking all of my meat down for about 10 to 15 minutes or until I see that meat get nice and tender. While my meats are cooking down, I'm going to get started on prepping and cleaning my fish. Now, the fish is extremely delicate and I don't want it breaking up in the pot, so I won't be adding it until the soup is nearly done. But I'm just going to get it ready by cleaning it with some lime and some warm water, chopping it up and rinsing it before I add some seasoning and lay it off to the side for later. I've still got a little time, so I'm also going to prep and clean up my crab claws, as well as the few pieces of stock fish, and lay them off to the side with the fish as well. And for any home-taught health inspectors or germaphobes out there wondering, yes, I definitely am making sure to wash my station down and, of course, clean up my cutting board in between all of my prep with my ingredients. Next, I'm going to cut up my cow tripe into smaller pieces, and just to make it a little bit easier on myself, I'm going to use my kitchen scissors instead of cutting it up with a knife. Let's check in on my cow foot in the pressure cooker. I've been cooking it down in some pre-seasoned water for about 35 minutes. So I just want to check it with my cook spoon just to see if it's reached a texture or consistency that I like. It's still pretty tough, so it's not where I need it to be just yet. So I'm going to put the lid back on it and cook it for about 10 to 15 more minutes. I don't need it falling off the bone, but I definitely need it a little bit softer than this before I add it to the pot. All right, so my meat is looking very tender and soft, and the first amount of water has dried down, so I'm ready to transfer it over to the bigger pot so the real show can begin. Okay, I told you in the beginning of this video that the bulk of Liberian recipes require a lot of prep work. So don't say I didn't warn you, but trust me, the end result is always worth it. So now that my meat is nice and tender, I'm going to add a little bit more water to my soup base before I transfer everything to the big pot so we can get started on the palm butter soup. Next, my cow foot is done in the pressure cooker. I like to leave it just a tad bit tough, only because it's going to cook all the way down in the soup. So by the time everything is done, it's going to be nice and soft. I don't want to overcook it before the soup is done. And I'm also going to add the seasoned broth from the pressure cooker into my soup as well. To avoid making everything too salty or over seasoning my pot, I'm just going to make sure to taste it as I go and season it little by little as it cooks along the way. I just tasted it and I'm ready to add my second batch of that green pepper blend of onions, garlic, and bell peppers, as well as that next spoonful of spicy pepper. Now, if I added my pepper sauce all at once, I don't know if I'd be able to eat this. So I'm just going to add it in throughout each stage of the cooking process to make sure that I build my spice level up. Okay, so I have been cooking this for about 15 minutes. As you can see, the color of the soup has changed. So the water is starting to take on the flavors of my buni, my cow foot, my chicken, my goat meat, and all of the good stuff that I threw in here. So I'm ready to take the flavor up a notch by adding some smokiness to it. I'm going in with a few chopped up pieces of dried, seasoned, and smoked turkey meat. It's very tasty and it makes a great snack on its own, but it definitely adds another layer of savory smokiness to the soup as it goes. Next, I'm going to add in the cut up pieces of tripe from earlier, as well as my stockfish before I cover it up and get started on sifting out my canned palm butter. Because we are dealing with fresh canned palm butter, it does tend to come with some sand from the palm nut itself in the can. So what I do to avoid making my soup sandy or adding any sand from the can into the soup is I start by pouring out my palm butter into a large bowl, and I just add some water to that before stirring it and sifting as much of the sand down to the bottom of that mix as well. I'm going to make sure to repeat these steps for each can of palm butter that I use in today's soup before adding it to the pot. So I'm just going to stir it up, and I add it to the soup by kind of using a side-by-side motion when I'm pouring it in, because that's what helps to keep that sand in the bottom of the bowl before I continue to sift it out. You're going to see a little bit of sand in a minute just to see what I'm talking about. After I've added all 3 cans of my palm butter to the soup mix, I'm going to add a few tablespoons full of a smoked and dried crayfish powder paste into the pot for a nice smoky flavor, as well as 2 tea spice leaves, or what is commonly known as palm butter leaves, to give me a nice piney spice taste. I gave my soup a little taste, and now I'm ready to add in the next layer of seasoning. So I'm going to add in 3 cubes of Maggi or chicken bouillon cubes, as well as about half a cook spoon of Vegeta. I'm going to stir my pot up a little bit more before I go in with a few more sprinkles of seasoned salt. And of course, here comes that nuclear hot pepper sauce again. Yes, I'm going to add another tablespoon to that as well. I'm going to cover my pot back up and let it cook for another 30 minutes. Let's check on our soup. It's been about 30 minutes, and as you can see, the oil from the palm butter has floated to the top, so that lets me know that it's continuing to cook down. Now I'm ready to add in my softer, more delicate meat to the pot. Yes, that is a Scotch bonnet pepper in the corner floating at the top. Do not be alarmed. If you enjoy spicy food, this might be for you, but it's not so deadly for anybody that doesn't care for spice either. I don't want my fish to break up, so instead of stirring or flipping it around from the top surface, I'm going to go ahead and put my cook spoon all the way down to the bottom of the pot and kind of sway it back and forth, just to make sure that the soup covers my fish, but it doesn't break it up in the cooking process. We have finally reached the final stretch of this cooking process. It took us a while to get here, but our soup is looking good, it's smelling good, and I snuck in a few tastes, and it's tasting pretty good so far. But I'm going to let it cook down just to build up a thicker consistency as I go along. So I'm just going to cover it and let it continue to cook down for another 25 minutes. And now it is finally time to eat, okay? I'm going to be enjoying my palm butter soup with a tiny little knot of plantain fufu today. But of course, you can have it with other pounded starches, as well as rice if you like it in a thicker consistency. It all boils down to preference, but I'm going to be adding a few pieces of stewed okra to my palm butter for a thicker taste. Of course, a lot of people do prefer to have their palm butter soup with rice and a nice slice of lime. So try it out both ways and let me know what you think. As always, friend, thank you for clicking play on this video today, and thank you for letting me share one of my favorite family recipes with you guys. If you've never tried it before, I hope you're curious enough to try it out for yourself and let me know how you feel about it. And if you already have tried it, I know a couple of African aunties will be in the comments to let me know how I did. Either way, I will catch you guys same place next time. Peace out.